Hey, welcome back to another reality check. This is Dan Brzozowski. I'm going to be your host in today's episode. I'm going to give you a snapshot of what was going on during one of the most high points of my life, or so it seemed. Imagine that everything is going my way. I've got the dream job. I've landed the national sales trainer position. It's a motivating speaker position that I had. And then all of a sudden, that lifestyle, that whole thing that I had going on in Las Vegas, all of a sudden that turns into a absolute nightmare. Everything that I worked for. In today's episode, I'm not talking about hype. I'm talking about the hard truth, the reality checks that ended up hitting me all at once. I'm talking about what happened in the airport when I completely broke down and passed out. I'm talking about when I got to rehab and how I got kicked out of rehab because my insurance ended up lapsing and they told me to leave rehab. I'm talking about detox. I'm talking about sleeping for 3 days straight because of a bad lifestyle. I'm talking about hiding behind success. And if this hits you hard, I want you to share it with somebody who might learn something from it. And if you've got a story of adversity to success, hit me up. I just might turn it into a book, your book, or feature it on the show. But until then, what I want to do is we're going to cross over and I'll see you on the inside.
Welcome.
Attention, please.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome to the No Comfort Zone podcast. It's time to get out of your comfort zone and live on purpose. Broadcasting to the world from Rockford, Illinois. This is your wake-up call.
Warning.
You are the solutions to all your problems. Stop thinking average. Become the hero version of yourself. Every day, every time, without fail, no exceptions. It all matters. You've entered the No Comfort Zone. It's time for a reality check.
I'm recently going through multiple editing chapters of the book. Yes, folks, I've talked about it. I haven't delivered on my promise, but it's coming. I'm telling you, it's coming. I ended up working so hard, practice, drilling, and rehearsing in one area of my life in sales training and motivational speaking for such a long time. When I was given an opportunity, a chance to fulfill that part of my life, and I was given the opportunity and getting paid to do it now, I became really good at it. I must say, I was pretty happy with myself for where I was going just in that one area. But I neglected so many other areas. It's funny, it's looking back now as I'm going through the editing process and learning about, kind of looking back and seeing how all these mistakes that I made, I focused singularly in one area of my life and neglected everything else. I was living a dream life in one area, at least from the outside. I was paid to do something I absolutely love doing. Teaching people what I learned and how to be successful at it and earn actually more money than I've earned doing that. Shorten the process. I love doing it. And I was really good at it, like I said. The ideal day for me, get up early in the morning, meet with my sales team, got a chance to work out, living in Las Vegas in a 5-bedroom house. It was great. I loved it. I loved that opportunity. Sales calls, a lot of time on the phone, talking to upper management, setting up meetings. My guys would go in, get an opportunity to close, do miniature sales meetings. And then those people would come and see me at bigger events that they'd go pay and see. And it was great. The position was wonderful. The status was great. I was living a great life. And the expense account, I just loved it. It was what a great time in my life that I had. But the inner emptiness kept growing bigger and bigger. The element of family was gone. The alcoholism was getting worse and worse. See, going out for dinner and having a drink, I guess that's normal for some people. But when you have 2, 3, or 4 and you kind of get a buzz going, or you have to get a buzz going before and after, it's kind of not normal. I'm trying to cover something up, and I knew it then. But I thought that was part of the game. I thought that's what successful people did. I don't know who I was modeling after, but I had a corrupt version of that. And the crazy part is I can go into the lifestyle and I can get into the R-rated version, but I'm not going to glorify it. Living in Las Vegas and doing something that I absolutely love doing motivating people to be the best version of themselves in an industry that I loved, speaking to the higher end management people about processes and developing salespeople and managers is something that I absolutely loved. I studied it for so long. I spent so much money um, training myself and getting involved in that area. Now, to be one of those people to get paid the money I was getting paid to do was absolutely wonderful. But I want to tell you something. Here's the reality check. All of the unchecked weaknesses caught up to me. All of my insecurities, the failure of my marriage, the lack of seeing my kids on a consistent, regular basis, that emptiness caught up with me. Nothing could fill that void whatsoever. So I started to miss key meetings. I started to neglect my sales team. I missed phone calls. Where do you think this is going? It's just getting worse and worse. I was responsible for a lot of things. I was a steward of this business, and I was representing the company in that part of the world. And I'd had to travel other places to go do sales training and stuff like that. Even flew me up to Canada on a last minute's notice, and I killed it. I did such a great job. Killed it. But you know what? The night before, what I had to do? I had to drink 2 bottles of wine to get my nerves settled because I hate traveling. And to be honest with you, I was afraid of public speaking. That weakness, I love doing it, but that weakness was never dealt with. I've worked on it since then, but at the time, I'm a motivational sales trainer, and I had a fear of public speaking that I never dealt with. I wasn't dealing with my divorce. I wasn't dealing with my finances, and I neglected it all. I was taking psychotropic drugs prescribed by a doctor, and I didn't feel right about doing it. I never went to my healthcare provider and said, this isn't right. I wasn't sincere or honest about my alcohol intake, but I'm sure they knew. I should have called them out on it. So one failure happened after one failure, after one failure, after one failure. In my blueprint, in the No Comfort Zone blueprint, I call this a failure cycle. If you do 2 things in a row that you know you're either not supposed to be doing, or you know it's detrimental to your career, your business, your family, your finances, whatever it is, you're headed in a failure cycle. You have to stop. You have to throw some discipline. You have to throw some ethics in there. You have to get some accountability in there. That's why you have to surround yourself with people that watch out for that. You have to get a tribe or a team of people around you, a squad of people that'll watch for that. I didn't have that. I didn't want that in my life. So what did I do? I ended up calling my employer. I said, I'm having a freak out moment, man. I am on the verge. I don't know what I need to do, but I need to get out of here as fast as possible. I took a handful of pills. Took a couple of shots of whiskey, took like Valium and Xanax and all that crap. I drove to the airport in Henderson, Nevada, to the Las Vegas airport. I don't know how I got on the plane, but I passed out. I called my mom to meet me at the airport. She was waiting for me. When I got off the airport, I literally passed out. I was the last one off the plane. I passed out in the lobby, one of the last flights leaving Las Vegas to land at O'Hare, and I passed out. My mom was waiting for 2 hours, had to send security to come and get me and pull me off the floor. My mom was pissed, waiting for 2 hours at the airport. We live right by the airport in Mount Prospect. It was a bad time. I went right to rehab. Had to go through detox. Had to meet with the, healthcare people there. Slept for 3 days straight. It was a horrible experience. Absolutely terrible. Then I went, that was a detox area that I had to go to. Then I went to rehab and got fired from the position, obviously, because of what had happened. There's a whole bunch of drama that happened there. While I was in rehab, though, right before I was supposed to get my little, your marble at the end when you graduate, going day and night, working my ass off to get through rehab, I was asked to leave. Not because I wasn't a good student, not because I wasn't working hard, not because I didn't want to stay sober. I was doing everything I was asked to do. They said, because your insurance lapsed and we don't have any, budget or grants for you, you need to leave. So I was freaking out and I had to leave. without my marble. Now that sounds funny, but I was building myself up because the only thing I felt worthy or worthwhile about was getting that damn marble. And now they were going to take it away from me. So I want you to hear me out while I'm talking to you. You could be a CEO of a huge business right now. You could be the entrepreneur. I know there's a couple people that are financially independent and millionaires that listen to this podcast. There's people that are high up in their companies, and there are people that clean cars for a living that listen to this podcast. There's people that work at Starbucks. There's a couple of authors that listen to this podcast that I know of, and there's people all over the world that listen to this podcast. No matter where you're at on the level of where you listen to this at, I'm going to share something with you that's very near and dear to my heart. Comfort zones, immediate gratifications will kill you if you take it for granted if you stop paying attention to reality around you. Reality hit me so hard because I wasn't paying attention to multiple things. They all came up at me at one time. My income went away, and it was a high income. Child support's due, taxes are due. I became homeless in a minute. I was so resentful for them not getting my marble. I became an anti-motivational speaker. I wasn't positive anymore. That's the only thing I had going for me. I was always positive. I was angry when I wasn't around people. I played the role of a victim pretty good. People that were close to me will tell you that people that lived with me in Las Vegas will tell you that I was a basket case. They had to give me pills to do certain things. To go to sleep, I had to take pills, and they would give them to me. To get me going, I had to take pills. I was never like that before. I was always the Energizer Bunny. I even told my employer, listen, I don't think it's a good idea because I'm suffering from self-esteem issues. I've been diagnosed as bipolar, which I don't believe, but I'm on medication. And I think I have an alcohol issue. He's like, you'll be fine. You're too good at what you do. I'm going to send you out there. You're going to run the place out there. On another podcast, I'll tell you how I ended up getting the job. It's like a scene from right out of the, whatever Trump's television show, The Apprentice. It's a scene like right out of that, how I ended up getting the job. Absolutely amazing. But here's the part that hurt the most. My identity was taken away from me. I wasn't a motivational sales trainer anymore. I was a broken man hiding behind my sales success. It's a quote that comes to mind. The truth will set you free, but first it'll piss you off. No marriage anymore, no family. No motivational sales trainer anymore. Now I'm an unemployed alcoholic with alleged mental issues. I had nothing. I didn't have a pot to piss in or window to throw it out of. And I was in debt up to my eyeballs. This is like the beginning of and I needed my marble. I did not have my marble. I was so sideways about the whole thing. So I did what anybody normal would do. Maybe even you would do. I decided to go out like crazy, and I started to drink more. I started to find anything that would give me gratification. Put your mind at whatever it was. Fast company. I just go down the road, any bad part of my life. Let's just put it that way. 2 years, it was bad. I'm not happy about the person that I became. Maybe in another podcast, I'll talk about that. We can go with the, different version of it. But for right now, I just wasn't very happy with who I came into. And the moral of the story is that it doesn't have to be that way for you. The moment of choice, people still believed in me because I finally gave them something to believe in, and that was honesty. And I came up with that years later when I started to put this all together. But one of the craziest thing that happened to me was when I went back to rehab. That was one of the second hardest days of my life, was to go into rehab. because I knew this was it. If I didn't make it through, I wasn't going to survive. And when I went through, I worked really hard on learning how to stay sober, learning about me and why I did what I do. This is, again, something I applied later in this blueprint that I learned. But I also learned about why people around me made the decisions that they did. Why did people enable me? Why do people do that? Why do people support you even when you're doing bad things to yourself? Craziest thing happened. The second hardest day was going into rehab, but the first hardest day was going out because I had all the tools to be successful, to stay sober. And this isn't a sober podcast. What this is a platform, a foundation to be successful later on. And success to me was just to be honest with myself every single day about who I was, who I really was. Now I'm a person in recovery who's rebuilding in every area of my life. I'm no longer a motivational sales trainer. I'm no longer a husband. I am a homeless, broken, trying to fix himself person. I'm no longer a hypocrite, which was positive to me. A lot of good things came out of this foundation because this rock bottom was my proving ground. And I want it to be for you too, because like I said before, and I'll say it again, listen, there are so many people that I've met through this podcast that after adversity, some great things happen. But you got to pay attention. You cannot be the victim anymore. What's good about right now? There's so many people that are just cruising by, man. They're living their life and things are going okay. But if you're a little screwed up like I am, you got to pay attention a little bit about what's going on around you. There's a level of success that you haven't achieved yet. And if you think like that, I could be, do, and have more, you're in the right spot. You don't have to hit a rock bottom. You have to be afraid of average. And if you're afraid of average, this podcast is for you. And this is what you share with somebody. We're about 17 minutes into it right now. This is where you start sharing the podcast and go, okay, I know a guy who's got a ton of potential. He's not screwed up like Dan. He doesn't have as many issues as Dan, but this guy's got so much freaking potential. This guy's amazing. This gal's amazing. They could be so much further in their life if they just believed in themselves. In order to believe in yourself, what do you need? You need honesty. My blueprint gets you to the core belief in yourself. It gets you to be honest with yourself through the no comfort zone principles. Step 1, awareness. Why do you do what you do? Why do you make those stupid emotional decisions? Why do you make the good emotional decisions? What happened right before you made that choice? What decisions, because a decision is not a choice. What happened right before you made that decision? Why did you take action on that decision? What was your outcome after that choice? Would you do it again? Because if you can have that honest dialogue with yourself about why you do what you do, you're going to be better off when you understand why the hell do you do what you do? I hope that makes sense. Because later, I realized through my blueprint, awareness, which gives you integrity, which helps you take action, there's so much you can accomplish when you start to figure all this out. I want to ask you this, the listener, what's the one thing that you're hiding behind? Because when you take a look at that question, there's a lot of people that I've met. I'll ask you this. I already know the answer. Are you hiding behind your job, your title, your social image? Here's the challenge. When you strip it back and you get real, that's where the power is. Look at your awareness. Find your purpose. Throw in the 4 E's, your energy, your excitement, your enthusiasm, and your engagement in other people. Here's the final call to action. Let me ask you, if this spoke to you, I want you to leave a review. Share it with someone who needs it and reach out because your story matters. Your second chance starts today. Don't wind up in the airport passed out, having to be picked up off the floor. Don't have yourself get so screwed up that you have to wind up in rehab once and twice and miss your marble. Don't destroy your family because you're too afraid to address your weaknesses. And definitely when you get that dream job, don't screw it all up because you weren't paying attention to your weaknesses in your life. I look back and I'm saying to myself, man, if I only would have paid attention to what was important. And what's important is what you're doing right now. And that literally is to get out of your comfort zone and live on purpose.
Say goodbye.
Want more of the No Comfort Zone? You can follow Dan on Instagram and Twitter at NoComfortZone1.
Bye.
Or on the web at thenocomfortzone.com.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the No Comfort Zone podcast.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.